Our next guest directed a new HBO documentary about the capture of the most wanted man in the world. Manhunt details the two-decade pursuit of Osama bin Laden through testimony and recollections of some of those involved in the hunt. Please welcome the film's director, Greg Baker. Greg, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All the way from Santa Monica.
That's right.
Yeah, and you're here because the film is opening at the Angelica for the USA Film Festival?
That's right. It's the opening film tonight.
Okay, so give us a synopsis of the film.
Look, I think the story you think you know, the story of the raid on Abbottabad, and even the story of Zero Dark 30 is just the scratch, just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
That's just basically the Navy SEALs team story,
yeah,
and a little bit of the background. In
yeah, I mean, the raid on Abbottabad killed Osama bin Laden took 40 minutes. The real hunt for Osama bin Laden took 2 decades. And what this film does really for the first time is it goes inside the world of the CIA. And we hear firsthand from the CIA analysts and the case officers, the operatives who were tracking and ultimately hunting down Osama bin Laden. And it was a 20-year endeavor. And what's interesting is it was really the story of a small group of women inside the agency who first saw bin Laden as a potential threat back in '93, '94.
We love girl power around here, so
it was all about girl power.
Language.
Yeah, no, I mean the women, they called themselves the Sisterhood. There was a small team that said, there's a new threat out there. His name's Osama bin Laden, and nobody believed them. Not their bosses, not policymakers. Eventually they got some traction, but never enough. These were the people who were warning about bin Laden, and nobody listened to them.
The character in Zero Dark 30, was she one of the Sisterhood?
She is.
Okay.
She is.
So what I love about your film is that it's a documentary. So we're hearing actual first-person stories from these women about what they were doing in the CIA.
That's right. I mean, the character in Zero Dark 30 is kind of an amalgamation. I mean, there was a figure like that who was involved in the last 18 months, but really she was part of the second generation of the Sisterhood, and we have a number of them in the film for the first time telling their stories. It's kind of amazing.
Is that why you decided to do a documentary-style film instead of a feature film?
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I can get access with the right people, documentary is as compelling, if not more so, than the feature film.
I agree.
I mean, I make the film. The film plays like a spy thriller. It's not a dry, boring documentary. It plays like a movie, but it's the first-hand account of these people who've never spoken before.
How did you get access to all the information? How did you get them to all agree? Because aren't they under top secret clearance still? And are they? Obviously, they're allowed to talk about it, but.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are not used to telling their stories and not talking to filmmakers and not used to sort of opening up emotionally on camera like they do.
Were they worried about their protection? Did any of them want to keep their anonymity?
No, nobody in the film. No, everyone's sort of, you see everybody. I think they were concerned. I think they ultimately made the decision that this is an important story that they wanted to get out there.
What do you think that the viewer will learn about the whole manhunt for Osama bin Laden that we didn't know before?
You know, somebody who would know saw the film and said it was the most authoritative, most accurate portrayal of the way the CIA works that's ever been done in any medium, ever.
Will we walk away being in awe of the CIA as it relates to that, or will we walk away going, gosh, wasn't there more that they could do? Why weren't they listening to these women if they were onto something?
Yeah, look, it's complex. I think the audience has a lot of conflicting emotions. These people are heroes. These are the people who also were the architects of the interrogation program, and you can debate about that, whether it was the right thing to do or not, but these are the people who did it. And they made these very sort of tough, complicated moral choices on our behalf. And the reason I think the film is still relevant, I mean, is that whenever there's a national security crisis, there is a small team of people making the tough choices for us. I think after 9/11, most of us instinctively just wanted Al-Qaeda taken care of and bin Laden caught.
Yeah.
Took a long time, but we knew that it was being done in secret.
Well, do you think that it took longer also because they were coming up against such a roadblock with the higher ups, with some of their bosses who weren't really listening to them when they were saying, hey, look, this guy's a threat?
Before 9/11, absolutely. I mean, it was the entire sort of Washington establishment. Wasn't really didn't have the imagination to think that this small team of ragtag terrorists would actually pose a threat to the U.S. This small team of women knew it was coming. They all describe it like, you know, watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Right.
And what's tragic for them is that they were the ones who were then blamed by the Washington machine that wasn't listening to them afterwards for not having done enough to warn. So I think, you know, it taught me a certain humility.
Yeah.
When we say, oh, it's an intelligence failure, it's like, actually, we don't really know what's going on. And the intelligence was all there. It was more of a policy failure.
But now we do know what's going on. If you see the film tonight, which is screening tonight at the Angelica Theater.
That's right.
On Mockingbird, I assume, yes?
Right.
Okay. Craig Baker, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
I wish you much success with the film.
Thank you.
And of course, after it screens, it will be debuting on HBO next Wednesday, May 1st.